This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. We're in rush circumstances, Eddie, because I know you've got a flight to catch. But how are you? How is life?
The life is good, mate. I'm just obviously finished the weigh-in. Very excited for that fight. It's a fascinating fight, and now just about to nip back over to Fort Lauderdale for Triple G. So and then back again in the morning. So buzzing for the weekend. That's what it's all about. Very excited.
Both men bang on 168, Eddie. What did you make of it? Being up there, watching them on the scales, what did you make of seeing them both next to each other?
Just two great athletes in tremendous shape. Callum-Smith looked absolutely fine weighing in, made the weight comfortably, which is bizarre really when you look at his size. And Canelo always looks $1 million, doesn't he? So nice respect between both. They both know this is a massive fight and going to be a tough fight. And looking forward to seeing it in the flesh tomorrow night.
A lot of talk about how Canelo is a favourite heading into this fight, but what does Callum have to do to overcome the exceptional skill set that Canelo possesses?
I think he's got to use his attributes, he's got to use his reach, he's got to use his size, but he's got to hurt him. If you don't hurt Canelo Alvarez, he's going to walk you down and try and attack the body, and he's going to be very, very dangerous. So I think Callum's got to establish a jab, but he's got to take his chances, and he will. He's not here just to coast through this fight, he's here to try and win. And if he sees the chances to let his hands go, he will do it.
You move into next year, and there is that rematch clause. Talk to me about that, Eddie. If Callum is successful on Saturday night, is there kind of a time limit as to when we have to see that?
No, it's not necessarily a rematch, but if it's a great fight and Canelo wants to do it again, and we can agree a deal, then you'd see it again.
Where do you expect Canelo to go if he defeats Callum on Saturday?
I think he's going to want to look at the other champions. I think he'll want to fight Billy Joe Saunders, or he'll want to fight Triple G. I know Triple G holds the titles at 160. We'll see how he gets on tonight. That's a huge fight. Of course, everybody wants to see the third fight. But I think he'll look at the other champions, and I think Billy Joe will be in with a good shot as well.
Triple G, Mata tonight. Just talking about that one, Eddie. How important is it that we see Gennady produce kind of a stunning victory tonight?
I think that's what he's under pressure to do, really. It's hard to give Zerameta. I know he's the mandatory challenger, but it's hard to see him as someone who's got a big chance in the fight. If Gennady is ageing and Zerameta can pull off a great performance, he does have a chance. But you'd think Gennady Golovkin will look good tonight. How good he looks is important, because obviously he'll want to make a statement, but sometimes that's the bigger pressure to look good and make a statement. So I think he looked sensational on the scales. I think he looks like an absolute savage, and I think he's going to win by brutal stoppage tonight.
Do you think we would see a trilogy bout between himself and Canelo, provided obviously both come through Saturday successfully?
I think obviously that's the aim of the broadcasters, but we want Callum-Smith to win on Saturday, and if he doesn't, then the Zone are going to want me to try and keep Canelo Alvarez on the platform.
Eddie, in your eyes, Callum wins on Saturday. Where does that rank in the history of kind of great British victories?
I mean, he's the underdog, but it's not Hunnigan Curry, But it's one of the great British performances. Like I said, Naz against Kevin Kelly and Calzaghe against Jeff Lacey. But the difference is Canelo's a pound for pound number one. So a victory, if you beat pound for pound number one, you should really become the pound for pound number one. So it would be a massive win, but he's well in this fight.
So Demetrius Andrade here as well. Any update as to what you've got lined up for him? He's just calling out Billy Joe Saunders non-stop.
He wants that fight. I mean, look, Billy Joe Saunders for me either fights Canelo Alvarez or Demetrius Andrade next, and that will all unfold over the weekend, of course. And I believe we've got a good chance to make the Saunders Andrade fight if we can't deliver the Canelo Alvarez fight, and Demetrius wants that fight.
He doesn't seem to really have any kind of. He doesn't really seem to want to face Liam Williams. Rather, he's mandatory challenger.
He's happy to face him, but he's just in his head. I think that the problem is Andrade Williams is actually a good fight, but no one knows it's a good fight because no one's ever heard of Liam Williams over here. So he's not really motivated for that fight. He's going, blimey, I boxed Luke Keeler, I boxed Sulecki. I need now to take this big fight. He's not motivated by a fight with Liam Williams. Liam Williams is actually a really good fighter, and it is a good fight. But every time that fight's mentioned here, everyone's going, oh, not another one of them for Andrade. It's actually not another one of them. But he wants to take the big fights now, and it will be probably Saunders for him if Saunders doesn't get Canelo.
Josh Kelly, David-Avanesyan officially announced once again this morning. Talk about it, Eddie.
Great fight. I mean, it's a tremendous fight to start the year, and it's time, for all our top young prospects to start taking those big 50-50 fights. If Josh Kelly is the fighter that we believe he is, he'll win that fight in style and he'll make a major statement. But Avanesyan, he's so tough, he's so strong, punches very, very hard. It's going to be a thrilling fight. January the 30th, be our first show of 2021, and can't wait for that one.
Is there a pressure on Josh again to produce a solid performance on the back of what we saw from Conor Benn?
No, I think he's just got to win. I mean, Conor Benn's coming on incredibly well, but Avanesyan is a much stiffer test than Formella. So this would be a major statement as we build up to that fight in the summer.
Just final thing I want to touch on, obviously we talked about Joshua Fury yesterday and trying to sort that deal out. Have you got a timeline as to when you expect it to kind of, if not progress, then certainly reach maybe the conclusion stage?
It's progressing every day. I mean, you know, we're talking, whether it's to Team Fury or internally, about progressing that deal every day. So I don't have a timeline. I would like to think in the next couple of weeks we can move forward and start going out to various sites and seeing what the offers are for that fight.
All right, Eddie, final word before you shoot off. Sell me Callum-Smith versus Canelo.
Don't need to. Anytime you get the number one in the division against the pound for pound number one, it's a thriller. You know, British world champion, his opportunity to really achieve greatness against one of the best fighters of all time in Canelo-Alvarez. You know, it's superstar pound for pound number one against the number 168 pounder in the world. Power against power. I think it's going to be really explosive. I don't believe this fight will go to distance.
Eddie, appreciate your time as you're waiting for your taxi to the airport. So thanks for Beats Boxing Social.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers, then.